Well, folks, I think we got a little bit to talk about here tonight. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Backbreaker Fight Club, where the number one rule of the Backbreaker Fight Club is you talk about the Backbreaker Fight Club. Mike the Ref here once again. Great to see you all here tonight. Man, we got so many different angles we could go at right now when it comes to what we could chat about here on what I would consider a monumental week in the wrestling business, that I think that would be the politest way of putting it. Yeah, we got the highest paid attendance show in the history of wrestling, the last Sunday. Tonight we had an absolutely spectacular pay-per-view from Pittsburgh, PA here with Payback. Collision happened as well, which brought out some interesting situations here. We got All Out tomorrow, which, by the way, if you are in YEG, come by to Beercade YEG, 10544 82nd Avenue. We will be doing a watch party for All Out here. I had to take a second to think about that to make sure that was that it was mentioned properly there. Like I got the right All In versus All Out there. Jesus. Then, of course, we have the biggest story of, well, as much as I don't want it to be the biggest story, it is the biggest story. As we got the ads rolling through, I'll probably hold up a little bit here. We'll just get a little bit into my generics of what I feel right now about what happened tonight. I think it was an absolutely spectacular pay-per-view. Very well built, very strong matches, a lot of wrestlers got over better than they have in a while. Like, I don't think anybody expected that Becky Trish cage match to go even a portion as well as it did tonight. And I think Trish earned herself definitely a lot more respect than what the casual wrestling fan was going to give. She is a Hall of Famer, yes, but can she go now? I think tonight she sort of proved that she could go really well with a lot of the wrestlers there. Full credit to Becky Lynch as well for that, because she did some work. She did a lot of work to keep things going there. And yeah, it's some of the spots that Trish did, like getting her feet caught up in the ropes or in the cage and doing a complete split down. Like, those yoga skills that she's been working on, they definitely did pay off there. So, if you want a full match-by-match breakdown of the entire card tonight for Payback, I would suggest go visit our buddies down at our local establishment, because I know they're going to be talking the pay-per-view point by point as we are getting close, well, as we wrap up that pay-per-view. So, or as we wrap up the Payback pay-per-view and head our way to WWE Fastlane. I'm not normally a WWE guy, so, but yeah, like tonight, that Nakamura match, how they put Nakamura over for what he did, like the whole setup with the manga comic and everything, I thought it was absolutely spectacular. Sorry, just trying to I gotta go to Wikipedia here to get we're gonna be talking a little bit here as we get going here about the All Out show coming up here in, we'll get to it in just a minute here. I think it's best right now that maybe we go to the elephant in the room right now. And of course, that big elephant is known as the firing of CM Punk from earlier today. And no matter what, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the biggest news headline coming down the pipe today. That the major star for the major company ended up getting turfed And it was a firing. It was not a mutual thing. It was a boss firing an employee. And it came out quite obvious here in Tony Khan's statement. I heard that on the Collision tonight, he got actually booed by the Chicago crowd, which doesn't really surprise me. But with all the evidence going on and you doing this in front of your boss, Tony Khan literally came out tonight and said this is the first time he's gone to a wrestling event and feared for his safety. Now, if you're going to fear for your safety at a show, like, I don't care if you're an indie show. I don't care if you're WWE. An altercation like this just should not happen. And I'm sorry, I when it comes to the video, I guarantee you that Wembley Stadium has video of everything everywhere. So there had to be some incriminating evidence on that video, the closed circuit stuff. And like I said, Tony Khan was right there. So there isn't really much that you can say about the whole situation that isn't indisputable proof. Now, I did hear a few comments about what had happened tonight. I actually got a comeback back from Twitter. Cash Wheeler was coming out to second Dax Harwood in the main event against Jay White, and he's supposed to be coming out as a face. So I want to clarify that right now as part of it. But he comes out doing the CM Punk symbol, quote unquote, supporting his friend. I'm sorry. Number one, the man got fired from the company that you are in right now, and you're going out there and your boss that's paying you, you're openly just saying that your boss is wrong. As a boss, I would be pulling him aside and we'd have a very big discussion. And this is the same guy that has firearm charges against him, assault charges pending in Florida. And Tony Khan managed to get him still on the card, and he still has the tag titles. Like, I know Dax and Cash are two of the best wrestlers in the world. I'll be truth honest. I put it on the old Facebookers there. I was going to pay for an FTR shirt, but I'm definitely not going to in this case now. After that, there's some ways that you could just, no, it's not right. You're not supposed to say that. There's just some things you shouldn't be bringing up as you go here. DBS Pod the chat. I mean, I can confidently say that my boss is almost constantly wrong. Hey, but you're not going to show up your boss on national TV, right? I think it's a little different when you go out there and make big... Basically doing this, you do it when you want to get fired. So, what, is Cash trying to get fired? Basically doing that just showed up the boss, and that doesn't sound right. SG Cameron, hey, I'm doing well. Life is going good. We just finished up the Payback pay-per-view. We're going to be chatting a little bit about that. And quite possibly, we'll probably hit the Battle Hub here in Street Fighter 6 after we're done here, because we got a little bit of wrestling to talk about tonight, because we not only have the pay-per-view that just wrapped up here. Once again, everybody, if you're looking for a full wrap-up of WWE Payback, head over to our local establishment. I just saw that they popped on the old Twitch here and throw up another tab. So just finished up Team Infinity AI East and West. Nice. Or AL, sorry, yeah. I'm glad you're plugging away there. I'll get back to it later this week. Maybe next weekend. We'll see what MLB The Show tails. I'm still got a tab open now working on those drops, so that's always a good thing about it. But yeah, when we're like I said, that's my thoughts. When it comes to CM Punk, he just put himself in a corner. Just finished Conquest's stream before the main event myself. Ha! Nice. Saw you got a few of them done here, so. I will say that having pay-per-views on while you're grinding your game is absolutely spectacular. Forgive me if I yawn a little bit. It's the fact that the smoke is rather prevalent here right now. And, being an asthmatic, it's always great. So, yeah, it's always great to sit back here. Like, when matches are not exactly exciting, pull up a game while you're playing and just... You can hear it in the background. Everything's important. You put your head up. That's why I like going to Beercade, which, once again, beautiful segue. We're going to be there tomorrow, 10544 82nd Avenue. We are going to be hosting a pay-per-view watch party for All Out, which actually has turned out to be I would say, a very decent card. We're not talking... knock your socks out, because I believe the main event got scrapped due to this firing. The main event, from what I heard, was supposed to be Ricky Starks versus CM Punk in a strap match, which we found out on Collision tonight was actually changed up to something a little bit more, little bit interesting. So, yeah, we were going to get to that here at... You know what? Well, let's just talk about it right now. On Collision, Ricky Starks came out with the contract, and Ricky Steamboat came out and said, and it's that old-fashioned cheese that you're used to when you see this. So Ricky Starks signs a contract, but it says, literally typed in there, Ricky Starks versus the Dragon. So... it's the old-fashioned, I'm not the Dragon, this guy is. And Danielson comes out, the place explodes. And, yeah, we're going to be getting a no-DQ strap match between Bryan Danielson and Ricky Starks in there. I got a feeling, I don't know how it's going to happen, by hook or by crook. Maybe Big Bill is going to help out with this or something to that effect. But in my opinion, I think they're going to give it to Ricky Starks because originally they were not going to give it to Ricky Starks if it was against Charles Montgomery Punk. Whoa! Member of the game, thank you. 20 months. I want to be sub longer than Roman is champ. You got a ways to go. But you know what? Once he gets that title off him, at least you're going to have that boundary, that border to set up. Thank you. Just straight up thank you. Welcome to the Players Club. Enjoy the fine cheese and the beautiful meat platter. I would recommend hitting the bar service up because the punch bowl, well, let's face it, a party and a punch bowl, never exactly a great combination there, so... Oh, and in terms of the strap match here, Danielson always puts everybody over. Yeah, like, I would love to see him put Starks over just to give Starks a little bit extra credibility here and sort of a one-ups on what happened here. Tony Khan can be a little petty at times. And I got a feeling that Starks, if he wants to get some heel heat, he's going to have heel heat here. Because if everybody knows he's supposed to face Punk and he's not going to be able to go against Punk, everybody's going to hate. Everybody's going to hate on this match in particular, but I wonder which way this, like, the biggest thing I'm worried about is how this crowd's going to go. We'll get to that at the end here, but let's get into this card here and a couple other matches that were announced tonight on the 0 Hour, which they are actually really loading up the 0 Hour now. The 6-man tag team champions, the Acclaimed, are taking on Team Jarrett in the pre-show for the World Trios Championship. So, I think straightforward, this is just to get the Acclaimed over. Jarrett's going to make it look funny. Satnam's going to take one bump and that's it. And Lethal will be the workhorse in the match. Straightforward, straight and simple. Sorry I'm late, but I guess Khan got booed when he announced the Punk news in Chicago. Yeah, you know what? We're off and on. We're all over the place. I don't have Andre here to bounce things off and keep things under control for me. So he's away this week, so I'm just running solo here for this preview show. So you know me, I have a tendency to go over the place here. Ricky should lead into it and eat it up. I think he will too. I think the one thing I'm worried about is I really hope they do not the crowd does not hijack this show. If it's CM Punk chants all night, well, it's going to be more a disservice to the fans, and it very well could mean the end of All Out in Chicago. I really do feel that, because I know there's a lot of history there, but at the same time, Tony Khan's announced that we're doing these two shows next year. Like, it's going to be a yearly thing to have these two shows this close together. He did try to get a pay-per-view package put together for the both of them. Unfortunately, all the pay-per-view providers could not come up with a solid package that would work the same for everybody, because they said they wouldn't do it because they're doing it for cheaper, and they said they wouldn't do it because, yeah, there's been a whole bunch of hearsay of that, so. They work Chicago too often as it is, though. Come to Edmonton, we won't chant CM Punk. Yeah, well, there's a lot of places they could go. By the way, I want to give you one of those. Just because, that is a very valid point. Come to Edmonton. We could actually fill 56,000. You give us a decent card here. Let's go to Commonwealth in October and hope that it doesn't rain. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what that crowd does here. Another match that was announced tonight was, well, they're bringing back the Over the Budget Battle Royal. So basically they're going to let everybody get on the card here. I'll be frank, and I know that a lot of people that were with me, chatting with me this week about the All In card in London, really hoped that this kind of match would have made it onto the All In card, especially for the women. If they could have done the women's one at All In and a men's one here at All Out, it would have served quite a bit for the rosters probably, but be as it may, I don't want to keep giving Tony Khan second chances here, but the fact that he got rid of Phil really, to me, gives him an extra bit of runway here in terms of getting things booked right. He's got a lot of work to do, but he gets a momentary pass here because as much as people don't like working with each other, they'll be a little more tolerable than what it sounded like Phil was. So, speaking of booking more women on the card, they did book another match for the pre-show tomorrow with Athena, Mercedes Martinez, and Diamante taking on Hikaru Shida, Willow Nightingale, and Sky Blue. So Shida gets the privilege of working both All In and All Out. She worked as the women's champion going into All In. She gets to work the opening match on the card for All Out. Yeah, I think this is probably going to be the place where Athena shines the most. I got to feel that Athena, Mercedes, and Diamante are going to win this one. A lot of people forget that Diamante was part of the initial women's tag team tournament champions. They had that fancy tournament a couple of years ago. I think it was just before the pandemic. And her and Ivelisse ended up winning that tournament. So hopefully they can come back and work on a little bit more on the tags. Because that way you get more people on the show, right? It's always important. All right, let's get on to this main card here, which will start at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Once again, if you're interested, 10544 82nd Avenue Beercade, we will be hosting it, and the video games are free because it's a Sunday of a long weekend, which they use as a quote-unquote barnacle. So we, come down there, we'll play some pinball, maybe get into the fighting games, maybe go shoot somebody, I don't know. There's a lot of skee ball out there too. Either way, Yes, they are sponsoring this, so I do need to mention them a few times here. So if you're wondering, why is this guy talking about this so much? Yes, it is sponsored by them. Thank you very much, Beercade, for supporting us now for 3 full years as Backbreaker, and I think it's 5 years overall. So it's been a fun time. But yeah, let's get into this main card here. All right, let's get into Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs and just a straight out power versus power match. Like, this is a match that I have been excited about for a very long while. There's a few matches in here that maybe a lot of people might not know about some of these guys just because they aren't on TV as much, but they are going to get definitely a lot of exposure for the Chicago crowd here tomorrow night. And we've seen Hobbs. He's been off and on TV. He's been jobbed out thanks to QTV quite a bit. And then you got Miro, who he just has that reverent feeling of just being a total badass. A complete badass here. This one's very hard for me to figure out which way we're going to go. I don't see Hobbs tapping out to Miro in the game over. For some reason, I just don't see it. Yet, I don't see Miro losing to Hobbs. If it ends up that one of the two is going to win, it's going to be some crazy ending. There's going to be somebody involved. There's going to be some shenanigans. Because I don't see Miro losing that often. So, and I think the last time Miro wrestled was in the Owen Hart tournament, wasn't it? And he ended up losing there to Punk, I do believe. So, I don't see him losing his momentum here. And I would love to see Hobbs get a little bit of recovery here, but I think Miro will shine him up real good to make him look good. So, let's go to, here we go, the TNT Championship. The real TNT Championship, Luchasaurus, will be accompanied by the little CLB Christian Cage. They really don't know what to do with Hobbs or Miro right now. Yeah, Adam, that's a perfect point, and that's a great idea. Cause that's one thing to bring up, and I'll get to our match here in a second. But when it comes to Hobbs and Miro, they don't know what to do, so put them together and let's see what happens. I think a lot of what happens on tonight's card might even help book what's going to happen here going forward, because your top draw on Collision is now gone, and now you have to figure out what you want to do for booking your card. If somebody steps up and shows off on this card tonight, like, let's face it, last Sunday, that card in England was the one where you send out all your best players to have a nice, great show to highlight what you have. This card here, they seem to have a little bit more variety, a little more youth involved, a little more people that are different. And it's going to give you the ability to see who's going to really step up and show off. Jay White's still there as a top Collision. I think this might be ability tonight to present him as that. I think they need to find a way to present somebody here as a top person to go into Collision. And I do think even more so now that Phil's gone, that there is going to be more interlocking between the shows. I hope there's a rare interlocking, but I don't want to think that there's anybody that has to be on one of the other shows. There's been some special requests. For example, with Malachi Black wanting to work Saturdays to match up the work schedule of his wife. And items like that. And, Britt and Adam both wanting to work Wednesdays for the most part. It makes a lot of sense. But myself, it's going to be interesting to see who can step up here. And very well, there could be a chance here that, a guy like Darby Allin, he could actually, he's on that precipice of being an all-star. And does another TNT championship get him that extra little spot, that extra little je ne sais quoi to get him to that next level? Luchasaurus is a hell of a challenger, and this is the perfect David versus Goliath matchup. It's almost like Godzilla versus, well, half of Japan. As we look into this, yes, I know this show's gone off the rails just by saying that, but anyway. I honestly feel that Luchasaurus is going to retain in this matchup. Just because watching Christian Cage carry that championship the way he is and trying to hit up widow mothers of wrestlers like he was continuing to try to do tonight with Nick Wayne's mom, it's got, as cheesy as it is, it still has legs. He has been a CLB. He always will be a CLB. And forever he has to be a CLB. So, yeah. So I'd still say Luchasaurus wins this. I don't know whether it's... like, you're going to get some shenanigans here. You're going to get Nick Wayne to come out. AR Fox is going to get involved in this somehow. And then Christian's going to get involved, obviously, because he's right there. In the end, I just think Luchasaurus is just going to be too much for Darby here. And then Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita. And Takeshita here, I got a feeling this match here is going to be one of those bangers of the night that a lot of people are going to be talking about for a very long time. Takeshita's this guy that has come over from DDT Pro over in Japan, and under the tutelage of Don Callis. I put that very loosely here. He's really made a name for himself now that he's turned into this smooth jacketed, smooth talking assassin here. He almost looks like that cool guy in those fight movies where, you just stand there, the one guy's just very quiet, then all of a sudden he's going to do something really cool. I think that's what we're going to have here with a guy like Takeshita. I do say Omega wins because this has got to end the feud here. I think this feud has run its course a little bit, and it might even be a position where Omega decides to say, I'm going to take some time off right now and just let things digest. The only reason you might want to put Takeshita over in this position is literally the Chicago factor that we were talking about. Omega, the Bucks, they are going to get booed incessantly if this crowd is acting the way that we think it will. And Takeshita's going to be a hero, even though Don Callis is a villain. It was weird. It's sort of like what happened with Ospreay at Wembley. Callis was there. Callis is a heel. Ospreay's the face. Jericho's supposed to be the face, but he's a heel. Everybody will play their role. This will be an absolute banger of a match, but I do think Omega wins it to finish off the feud here. Whether that sets up finally getting Danielson Omega 2 years later from their initial matchup at Grand Slam. I think we could get Danielson and Omega again at Grand Slam. Very well could be a setup for a rematch there. And don't tell me you guys wouldn't enjoy that one. Then from there, you want to talk about the Elite. We got the Young Bucks and FTR, which this is going to be weird. Like, with everything that's gone on today, everything that's gone on this week, we got one guy with a firearm charge, one that their best buddies had their best friend fired, and the other two are the two that are blamed for it by many people with many conspiracy theories ever since Brawl Out. They have to work together to take on Bullet Club Gold. Now, I'll tell you, no matter what kind of confusion, whatever the crowd does in this match, Bullet Club Gold should win this match. Bullet Club Gold are going to win this match. And to DBS's point earlier here, I'm pretty sure Jay White's going to get the pin on somebody. Because it's usually Nick or Matt, because, well, Nick is usually the one that eats the pins. Just saying, Bullet Club Gold needs to be established really hard right now. If you want to bump Collision with a very top heel stable, Bullet Club Gold pretty well is it right now, but if you want to give them a massive win, I got a feeling that FTR and the Young Bucks definitely could use... There could be some miscommunication involved, and I think Jay could end up beating Dax. Getting the pin on Dax. I'd love to see it on Cash just because Dax can... just in case things go south for Cash, Dax doesn't have to eat a pin here. But either way, I'm pretty sure Bullet Club Gold's going to win this. So that's about as close to a lock as I can see. But you want to talk, like earlier tonight, the next two matches we're going to talk about here are going to be two matches here that a lot of people might not know some of the participants in this just because they haven't been on quote-unquote mainstream TV. But after this match, if you're watching the pay-per-view, you will know who they are. First one for the ROH World TV Championship, Samoa Joe, Shane Taylor. Now, Shane Taylor has been an absolute mainstay in Ring of Honor. One of the absolute best wrestlers there. Shane Taylor Promotions, an awesome trios that got set up there. And I believe that they were the second last, if not the third last, trios championships there. I know the Righteous ended up getting those championships near the end here, and I think they were the last ones to have it. But Shane Taylor, big man, can move. Samoa Joe, he showed you what he could do against Punk, and he just feels like he is on an absolute roll right now. Like there's not even a question right now how much of a roll Samoa Joe is on right now. It's not just the fact that he's having great matches. He just looks happy. And he looks so confident, so smug, so carefree when he's a part of those right now. So I don't see the title changing hands here. It possibly could if they want to get Samoa Joe purely on Collision and have ROH sort of segregate to their... Sorry about that, chat. If they want ROH to segregate from the Collision or the Dynamite shows, that's the only way I could say they could get a title change here. I don't think that'll be the case because Samoa Joe is a very strong competitor who can work both very easily. And like I said, he is on such a roll right now, it is absolutely scary. Once again, everybody, if you are interested in throwing in your comments or thoughts, feel free to throw them in the chat here. We can discuss them as we go along here. And we are going to be having a live watch party at Beercade YEG, 10544 82nd Avenue. Haven't heard of any of the specials yet. Last time we had half off pizza, but they always have good deals there whenever we're there. So this is going to be fun. Free video games. It's going to be a blast. And then talk about blasting and explosive. Yes, I know. I'm great for it. Actually, the pizza is pretty decent there, Crowder. They redid the formula there, so I know. Like I said, last time we had half off pizza, and I've seen food consumed at a bar. This got consumed very quickly, so you know it's good for many people. So the only way you'll get to know is to find out is to stop by. So. Well, let's talk about Eddie Kingston, Katsuyori Shibata versus the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio and Wheeler. Claudio and Eddie blood feud. This is going 16 ways of good story development here. Like watching Dynamite on Wednesday where Claudio went out to grab Wheeler after the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship match. And Claudio literally did his march around the ring and did not make one acknowledgement of Eddie Kingston even being breathing. Unfortunately, he's going to have no choice but to do that here as him and Yuta take on Shibata, who New Japan star, Ring of Honor pure champion. And then you got Eddie Kingston, who is the New Japan Openweight champion, which basically is the division of I believe it's about as hardcore as you get with them. Like, they don't go crazy with they don't go Stadium Stampede, New Japan. But they do get their hardcore spots in, and that's what the Openweight Championship for the most part is about. It's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. I believe that's the way the cool kids say it. So, but yeah, in this one, it could go either way. I think in a way you could get Yuta to get a pin on Shibata. That sets up a pure championship match for Yuta again. I know Yuta's been sniffing around that title quite a bit after initially winning it and then losing it to Daniel Garcia. But it would be interesting to get that matchup set up here, which if Yuta can get the pin on Shibata, I think it would. I don't think you're going to get Claudio or Kingston involved in the cover here just because they need to have that one-on-one blow-off match somewhere, somehow, some way. That was supposed to be the Death Before Dishonor men's title match before Athena and Willow ended up main eventing the card. Unfortunately, Eddie had to go to the G1 and participate, and just the schedules didn't line up properly. So, well, from there, let's talk about some weird teams. And I would have guessed this is the story of AEW right now in the positive sense. Better Than You, Baby, of Adam Cole and MJF, which I don't know if anybody can argue the fact that this is probably the top story in AEW that is involved inside the ring. Let's not talk about the politics outside of it, but inside the ring, Adam Cole, MJF, two absolutely spectacular talkers, along with two fantastic wrestlers. Like even tonight, just for humor's sake, Adam Cole was the one who came out to do the promo against the Dark Order, their opponents. And I'll get to Reynolds and Silver here in just a moment. Cole did the promo, but then when MJF's part came in for the promo, he actually texted it to Cole, and Cole actually just read off his phone and basically wouldn't say half of it because, well, MJF has a certain set of verbiage that Adam Cole decides he does not want to use. So I find it equal parts hilarious and successful that both these guys have. But then you got the Dark Order, which originally was a bit of a joke of a tag team and a comedy tag team. A couple facts for the Dark Order. They won a battle royal on Rampage to get this shot. That was the spot everybody thought Aussie Open was going to get their rematch. Instead, they got a matchup tonight against Nick Wade and Commander. But, Alex Reynolds originally helped train MJF. And if you watched any of the promos that have come up tonight, you saw that. This very well could be a thank you, Alex spot for MJF. Getting him the shot at the tag titles here. I got a weird feeling just because of everything that's going on here. This might be a title change just for the fact that the Kingdom will come out and cause havoc, and MJF's going to get attacked somehow, and Cole's not going to help out, and he's going to be caught between two places in that case, and Silver and Reynolds are going to take advantage and get the victory. And I think we're going to get new ROH tag champs. an actual team that performs on ROH quite often. So I don't see it being any more than that. I know that everybody's going to complain that there's been 2 title changes in a couple days or in a week here just to move it over. Not a fan of single guys holding tag titles anyway. Yeah, this was a story moment. I wouldn't have minded if it was the AEW championships, but MJF said it best in the post-show press conference for All In. He's on the Ring of Honor roster and he has no clue how. And I feel like this could be very well a placemaker for the championship. A bit of a story blip, and those titles are going to get over to Silver and Reynolds, which actually is going to turn out to be a brand new dotting for that championship, because if the Dark Order win, we can get right into a feud with the Righteous at ROH, because the Righteous are trying to recruit Stu Grayson, which is a former member of the Dark Order and Evil Uno's former tag partner. So I got a feeling that those titles are going to change hands. You can still keep the tag team together, just like Adam's mentioning here. Yeah, I think it was just a way to keep MJF and Cole together a little while longer. And I still think they're going to be. I just got a feeling that there might be a way here that Adam Cole gets into this tournament to face MJF at Grand Slam. I think there could be a rematch there. I think the final could be Strong versus Cole. Cole wins it, takes on MJF. Then Strong helps Cole win it, and that's when you get your title. You get your title change, and you get your character change. So, for me, I see the Dark Order winning this, and it helps predicate a decent 3-week storyline here, where you have a big tournament going on here. So. Oh, yeah. Hey, Vic, how you doing? We were talking about that earlier in the show here, the fact that about the whole CM Punk thing, and hold it to Christian. The Christian meme on the internet right now. The Windy City lost its father. So does that mean that Christian's going to be going after AJ? Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there right now. But right now, looking through this card, we've already talked about Danielson and Starks. We got 2 more matches to discuss here, and 2... I almost feel like these could be the semi-main and the main, because they are the 2 matches that have been most built, I think is the best way to put it. For all these matches that are on this card, I would have to say the 2 that have been built the most is for the TBS Championship. Let's talk about the first one right now. For the TBS Championship, Chris Statlander defends against Ruby Soho. Now, this has been going on for about 3 weeks right now. Vic, I think they do it most weekends, but because of the U.S. Open in Canada, at least they don't, right? So you might be looking at, I'm not sure what they have in the States for replays. So they've been doing Countdown to All In on TSN here in Canada. So, or Countdown to All Out, sorry. But yeah, when it comes to Soho's build for this championship, it's been a couple times she sneak attacked Statlander, and Statlander has been just on an absolute tear since she's won that championship off Jade, which we don't even know if Jade's coming back. So if Jade comes back, well, it's going to be interesting to see where she slots in with everything right now, because it almost feels like we're going to have more of an Outcast intertwining feud right now coming in. So it would be interesting to see Soho win the championship. She deserves to win a championship with the fact that it's in her hometown. I got a feeling that the bill for Ruby Soho to be played at AEW shows just went up, because The lead singer of Rants had tried to put out a pro CM Punk tweet, and it got taken down for inciting hatred for some reason. I don't know all the details. I watched a few reports here. I was on the Steven Larson Twitch stream during the pay-per-view here, so they mentioned it came up. So it's a very dicey situation in the world of AEW right now, but I do think they're in the right direction. But I do see Statlander continuing on her championship, maybe going one more pay-per-view, but it wouldn't hurt my feelings if they would pass off the championship to Ruby Soho in an area where she grew up wrestling and where she made a name for herself as Heidi Lovelace here in the Chicago area. So shout out to AEW and all the promotions that run out of Chicago. And also the, I believe the Berwyn Eagles clubs over there with Shine and Shimmer and all those go. I'm not sure on the U.S. Locations for promotions altogether, but I do know that Ruby did have a lot of work done in the Chicago area. So I know HBC Bad Guys would be talking about that a little bit more every Wednesday. That's not sponsored part. That's just they're a hell of a bunch of guys that do some great work. So just want to give them a shout out while we're here. And then the match that I feel now with everything that's happened, this is going to be our main event for the card. For the AEW International Championship, Jon Moxley taking on Orange Cassidy. 30-second defense for Orange Cassidy and the International Championship. Just finished a war with Penta to get to this matchup. Moxley tonight. If you haven't seen it, go check out my Twitter. I retweeted it. Jon Moxley in 2 minutes put himself over, put Moxley over, put the match over, and most importantly, put the title over. All four of those things put together in a 2-minute absolute banger of a promo. The way this one has been built over the last week, ever since, basically, Adam, you sum it up great here. How good was Orange's promo on Wednesday, too? People forget, Orange Cassidy was part of the 2020, the 29, was it 29? It was 2020, I do believe. The Double or Nothing triple threat main event, himself, Pac, and Kenny Omega. And nobody thought he deserved to be there. But 2/3 of the way through that match, you thought he was going to win that championship. Don't kid yourself. If you were watching that live, you honestly had a feeling that he was going to win the title there. And there is no reason why Orange can't be taken seriously. And when he turns it on, like they say, a guy like Orange Cassidy, the biggest thing for him is he's so relaxed. But what happens when a guy that's totally relaxed all the time actually gives a damn? Hell, I'll say that tonight with one Shinsuke Nakamura. If you watch Nakamura over the last, 2-3 years? Pretty much ever since he got called up to the Fed. Outside of a few matches pre-Dick Shot, he hasn't really given a crap while he's been up here. You watch him tonight, and if you haven't watched Payback tonight, I suggest you do. Go look at his mannerisms. Go look at the match. Go look at how everything was put together for Nakamura. You could tell he gave a damn tonight. And he would put in that extra effort that he really wouldn't put even as much as during his IC title run. This was a shot at the main event in a big match with the Great Muta sitting ringside. That's the vibe I'm getting off Orange Cassidy in this one. This one is it's going to build. They're going to start goofy. We all know that. But as it builds, it is going to be an absolutely fantastic match. Because I don't think Mox is going to be in a position here where he's going to go out trying to bludgeon himself. He's going to try to bludgeon other people. I don't think there's going to be much blood in this match. But I do think that this match could be an all-time great. And the best way I can sum this up, and it's going to go to all matches on this card, and I think Moxley is going to be one of the biggest proponents of this situation here. What has happened over the last 24 hours here with the whole, well, essentially the last week here with the CM Punk situation here with Jack Perry, which we really don't know what Jack Perry's situation is here. Could you imagine them leading off with Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin, and Jack Perry comes out with Christian and Luchasaurus? The amount of evil disdain that would come through that. You could basically take a sponge and just wring out all the vile and all the hatred that you would get there. But let me get back to my main point here. I know I go on a tangent sometimes, but tomorrow night when you're there, start watching all the wrestlers as they're in there overall. This could be a situation where, and the example I gave online earlier was the Seattle Mariners right now. At the trade deadline, they got rid of their closing pitcher, Paul Sewald. He got traded to the Diamondbacks. Ever since then, every pitcher in that lineup has stepped up, and they have become one of the most devastating bullpens in Major League Baseball right now, and has helped push the Mariners from being what realistically they should have fell off the pack and got back down into the bottom 5 or 10 teams after they basically decided they were going to unload anything they could. Basically where the Angels should be right now, but I digress. Into a playoff team, and a solid playoff team, because, hell, the Blue Jays choked another one today, so I'm a little bitter on that. But it's amazing how the entire team will step up when a major player has left the company. And it could be through trade, and in this case, it could be... And this is the biggest vibe I get. And this is where I get into a little bit of my thoughts on CM Punk and this whole situation. Ever since Punk came in, there's just been a vibe of, to a lot of people, of, yeah, we'll work with them, but we really don't want to. Like, there's a thing about being professional. But at the same time, a lot of people just didn't want to work with him. He seemed so brash and so... He had his own ideals of what wrestling should be. It's no different than Jim Cornette. It's no different than Vince Russo. It's no different than any of your modern day commenters about wrestling. And yeah, Adam's got it perfect here. Yeah, AEW should be telling their locker room right now, A, let's show Punk we don't need him. 2, there's this top spot at the card right now. Who wants it? And it very well could be a rallying point. And I think it will be tonight. I think tomorrow is going to surprise a lot of people in terms of what everybody brings to the table. Because I'll tell you right now, like, I think Tony Khan ate a lot of humble pie on this one for the fact that his number one playing card was CM Punk. He was trying to push him as, well, apparently Warner Discovery got CM Punk Collision, or got AEW Collision because of CM Punk. And now that he's not there, why do they have that show still? My feeling is this is going to be the start of what is going to be the beginning of a new era in AEW. And I know that's hard to say when it's 5 years old. Well, sorry, it's only 4 years. Yeah, it's just over 4 years old right now, because it was 2019 when it started. It's almost as if it's time for AEW to start growing up and being a solid product all the way across the board. We've had our hits, we've had our misses. Some people say they can't stand some stuff. Some people can say that some stuff is absolutely amazing. And hell, the last 7 days is going to be absolute proof of that. When you have the All-In card, which appeared to be the A show, which I will fully agree with that with everybody that says that. And I will put it this way, as a referee assigner I was a referee assigner for 5 years. And you learn as you go along that there are certain events where you put in certain stars and you try to test them and you try to get them in. You feel like you could get certain people into certain spots where they can succeed. And it's sort of a test. It doesn't necessarily need to be perfect, but you need to get them that exposure at that point. That show at Wembley, that was not the place to do it. With the number of eyes that were going to be on that product, you put your best on that card. And this is where I got into a lot of crap for the fact that based on everything that happened with the injuries to Jamie Hayter, Thunder Rosa, I almost felt that having those 4 as the only 4 women on the card in that position, I felt it was not great. He should be booking better. He should be trading better. He should be getting better. But for the roster that he had and the position that he had in terms of wrestlers, I felt it was the right decision to only have the one women's match on the card. And yes, I know I'm going to take a lot of flack for that, for not having enough women on the card. The only other match that I would have considered on that card, they had already done as a main event on ROH previously, and that would have been Athena versus Willow Nightingale. I don't know if I'm Tony Khan, if I would have felt confident to have any further spots. Now, on this card, I honestly feel there should be one more women's match coming on here. Whether we get it announced tomorrow or not, I don't know. I would love to see it. But the fact that we're getting Mercedes Martinez, we're getting Diamante, we're getting Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue. Athena, I'm already included. Like Athena and Willow, we know they're good enough on there. We know Sheeta's good enough on there. Mercedes, she's had some NXT experience, but not a lot. She's had some Raw experience, but not a lot. I think the big problem was a combination of only having one women's match, and it was given the least time. I have my own thoughts about the time-wise, too. And I'll just say this, and I get it. It adds into...
Now, find a new rival.
Thank you for following, Jeff Boogie. Welcome to the Players Club. Enjoy the caviar on the table. Don't drink the punch because I think it was spiked 5 times. But when it comes to that women's match and getting the shortest amount of time that it did, I've watched back the Saraya matches, and this is where there's a big hindrance in the AEW style. Because the AEW style, the biggest difference between AEW and WWE when it comes to 3-ways, 4-ways, multiple person matches is the fact that they don't like to have those rest break spots where they have 2 people in the ring and then everybody else is basically dead on the outside. So if you're going to do a 20-minute match, for all the matches that I've seen Saraya work so far, and I could be totally wrong, so feel free to say I'm wrong. I don't mind. But I don't see Saraya holding up in a 20-minute match where she's got to go for a full 20 minutes. I remember the match with Britt and Saraya way back when they had their first match. And even then, she was having some ring rust, and I don't see it improving with the amount of breaks she's had in the middle. I know she's had a lot of stuff. She's had a lot of injuries. I'm sure she's done a lot of workouts off camera. But I feel that match was cut short because you want to get the best out of everybody. And I don't know if you're going to get the best out of a 20-minute match with those guys. Oh, I completely understand where they gave the title to Saraya. It was for the pop that they thought they were going to get for having the hometown girl win the championship. I think the biggest pop of Saraya winning the championship was from her family in the ring, which absolutely that's what you deserve. But I know I'm just burning myself every time I say something about this, but I got a feeling that Saraya, there is a way for her to keep the championship for a while, but at the same time, I don't know how long she's actually going to have it. I could see her dropping it to like a Thunder Rosa or something that returns. Because if you want to put Thunder Rosa as a face, get it off Saraya as soon as possible. You could have this triple threat with the Outcasts where Tony Storm gets it back again. There's a million different possibilities of what you could get here. But I do have a feeling that Saraya's not going to have it for long. And the fact that she got that title was for the pop that they thought they were going to get off it. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it gets booked. It doesn't get you the reaction you want, even though that reaction would make sense if you look at everything logistically on paper. 80,000 people at Wembley Stadium, majority of them are looking forward to the hometown girl. She comes out to Queen of all things, which a lot of people didn't know that We Will Rock You, I believe, is what the whole Knight family came out to originally when they were on the Indies, when they started out on the Indies. But to put it on somebody like Saraya, it gets the recognition. And she does have the credibility with the fact that she's had a history at that level. But I honestly don't feel that she's going to keep it for long. Hell, I could almost see the fact that they have a match tomorrow. That's the other match I'm looking at here, is possibly throwing a women's title match in here. But there could be, they might not. I don't know. Right now they're set up for 13 matches on this card, and I think it's pretty saturated if you ask me. Like, I'm looking forward to a lot of the matches on this card. I'm looking forward to the card overall. I think it's going to be a very solid card. I think a lot of people are going to be very surprised about what goes on this card here coming up tomorrow night. With the fact that it's not a lot of the same people that are on the show last week. I think next year, the shows are going to be a lot more balanced than what you see this year. I honestly feel that, they talk about how this is going to be a 2 levels of a show here, like an A show and a B show. I feel that next year, the titles are going to be a lot more, like, between the titles, between the matches, things are going to be a little bit more balanced. You might see a little bit more top-heavy at Wembley, but it's going to be a lot more balanced here than it was there. So. But yeah, this has been a let's just face it. It's been an absolute crazy week in wrestling altogether. It is, in many ways, it's really hard to stomach in some cases for the fact that we have somebody who opened up one card on the first night of all this wrestling, and he's taking all the highlights, and he has been for the last, well, hell, ever since Brawl Out last year. It was 1 year ago. Ever since that happened, like, seriously, it's going to be nice to not have to deal with a gentleman like CM Punk, for the most part, off our TVs, at least for a little while. Let's not forget, folks, and the Carney in me is still sitting there. Survivor Series is in Chicago this year. The writing's too good right now on the wall. That even if it's a one-night appearance, I could totally see it happening. The irony is Punk might need the structure of the WWE not to go too crazy. Here's the thing. Can he handle it? And can his ego handle it? And can he handle it? That's the big thing. If the ego can handle it, I think it could work. But I almost feel like in many ways it might not work out the way that most people think it will. I don't know if he'd sign up there yet. I was saying to Shay tonight, I could see him doing a one-off at Mania 40. I don't know against who, but it's money, and 40 is a big... Yeah, they're going to pull out all the stops for 40, because I know that WWE tried to do their little petty thing with trying to advertise about bringing Mania to Europe. And then all of a sudden, they get 81,000 people at Wembley for AEW, and they announce they're going to go back there next year. I think that that's going to be pretty much saying, AEW's got London. I'm sorry. You can take your small arenas, but big events we're going to have at Wembley are going to be solely AEW at this point. If I was Hunter, I'd honestly pitch the Austin Punk match to the two of them and see what they say. I don't know if Austin would go for it, to be honest. I think Austin's done. I think finishing in Texas against Owens was pretty much the highlight of the way he wanted to go out. Because Philly, he has some great memories. WrestleMania 15, beating The Rock for the first time at Mania. In one of the most lackluster WrestleManias ever. A.K.A. the night that the Boss Man got hung from the Hell in a Cell. The only other thing I could say is you bring in Punk to face Reigns. If Reigns comes out and says there's nobody left to fight, and Pierce says he'll find you a fight at Survivor Series, and they do it the same way that Tony Khan did with Punk. Book the United Center, sort of let it get out there that Punk's going to be around that night. Because literally Tony Khan never announced that CM Punk was making his debut at the United Center when he signed with AEW. It just was very well known that was the case. But there was never a formal announcement. I could see WWE following that same formula. So, nice. Let's see now. I don't know if he goes for it either. There's no harm in asking. Fair enough. The only money match is Punk Rollins. I don't know if Rollins would take that match. Like, as much as we joke around with the fact that that they played up the story about Rollins is back, it's legit. He's getting up there in years. And Rollins and that WWE grind is a lot different than, say, an AEW grind where, like, this week is probably the most people are going to have to work. And this is what? Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. 4 days and 8 is the most they're going to have to work in a year. Some of these guys, because if they have to show up for Collision or Rampage. Your team's been in Chicago since Thursday. Let's just... Wow, that's a new horn I never thought I had. They won't be back till Tuesday? Fair enough. I'm glad they're out there. I'm glad they're checking things out. And the one thing I will say, and it will... the All In show in London is going to hurt ticket sales in Chicago next year. And like I said, I think this might be the time to decide that maybe do Chicago for your anniversary years, but not necessarily every year for All Out. Because if you're doing the 7-day turnaround, which Tony Khan has admitted he is doing from going forward, because the weekend before is a holiday in England, and Labor Day weekend is this weekend here in North America. So, to be honest, I think Punk should be starting to look at non-wrestling roles. He was a pretty great commentator, a good analyst on that show that he was on before the pandemic. Yeah, he still has commentary for one fighting promotion, UFC type fighting promotion. Can't remember which one. I do believe they brought it up in a promo, the fact that he still does it. So, and also receiving a big award at the Cauliflower Alley Club this past week as well. I do feel that Punk realizes that he doesn't have to have wrestling in his life just because he's been out of it. And I think this was more of an idea of how to scratch an itch. This was an attempt to see what's going on. And I know we're all going to speculate about Punk going back to WWE for a one-up, but I generally could see him saying fuck it and move on to something else. WWE might not feel he's worth the headache and might want to go back and swallow her pride either. Yeah, like Tony Khan has been pretty liberal about giving away, being able to take people in. And Tony Khan was the biggest CM Punk fan in the world. Like, he was rah-rah. It's been commented about how much of a kiss-ass he was to him. Let's pardon the French, but it's a fact. You just proved how much of a kiss-ass he is to him. But for Tony to fire Punk, like, that's got to say something. When one of your biggest backers says, no, I don't want you, that to me is that's very telling. It's sort of like when you watch Draft Day and Bo Callahan, the top prospect that they had, the GM for the Browns in the game, played by Kevin Costner, he's digging up everything, and then he looks for some intangibles, and then he realizes, he got busted at the kid got busted at his birthday party for drinking with all his buddies. Well, all his buddies, none of his football teammates were there because nobody wanted to deal with him. So they ended up working deals like passing on him and all that stuff. And you have to watch the movie Draft Day. It's absolutely fantastic if you are a football fan. This is the week to do it because fantasy football is out everywhere. I gave up on fantasy football because it's hard enough for me to juggle 5 podcasts and 2 YouTube channels. So I just decided that wasn't better. I think Pug loves wrestling but hates most wrestlers. Yeah, that's very much a way a lot of people act when it comes to a lot of things. Hey. Sorry, I got another Twitch stream running right now with MLB The Show on it, so trying to get some free packs like I had last night. So just popped up and said, you got new packs. Yay. Money talks, but I don't know how much he's worth to WWE at this point for real. The night he came back was a Monday night. I think he's good for one night. You do that rumor about Survivor Series, have him come in, maybe have him as a surprise in the Royal Rumble. But nothing consistent. Just get him a one-off just to say that he was here. And that would be enough, like the sticking of the knife kind of thing, right? Just enough to say he was here. I love comedy, but hate comedians, so I get that. Yeah, it's like every profession. Like, even sometimes there are some streamers that, you try to... some streamers you love, some streamers you hate. You hate some people in every industry you're in. There's a couple that I know that you guys don't, that I just can't stand. And there's very few I block, but there are a few. So when it comes to everything, there's like certain people you can't get along with. But like I said, one of the things that I hate the most right now, as I was seeing everything, watching Cash do the CM Punk symbol as he's walking out before his match, and he's supposed to be a face. I get it if you're a heel. In a way, I get they're in Chicago, so it's like, it's a little bit all over the place, but I feel it's like a Band-Aid on a wound that doesn't need to be ripped right now. So we're going to see what happens out of that. Probably nothing, because, Tony Khan, well, he's earned a lot of respect for doing this, for the fact he did say he had to do. And he's done it properly, because I think the way that he's done it now, he's not going to have to worry about wrongful dismissal or anything like that. Could you imagine if they do a wrongful dismissal case and we get to see the videotape of what actually happened? Could you imagine the internet burning down, especially wrestling internet? Like, I don't do these wrestling chats often, and many of the reasons for that are involving the fact that there's usually a meltdown when it comes to wrestling fans, when it comes to dealing with the whole wrestling atmosphere, for lack of a better term here. So, and it's a toxic atmosphere. I know there's toxicity everywhere when it comes to a lot of things, but at the same time, wrestling toxicity, especially lately, just feels like it's been amplified in many different ways. I'm really hope that once the Punk firing goes away. Wanna take you for a ride. I wanna take you for a ride. Speak of the Devils, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream here, if you were looking for a detailed match-by-match breakdown of Payback, our local establishment are the guys to talk to here. Let me get the shout out for them while we're chatting here. How are you guys doing? How did you feel about Payback tonight, guys? We've been talking about a lot of different things. We've been talking about, all the the good things about wrestling, the bad things about wrestling, the other things about wrestling. We're talking about Charles Montgomery Punk a little bit tonight. I wonder why. Dude, it's brutal. The number of people that messaged me today, like, hi, your boy Punk got fired, infuriated me. I just want to watch wrestling. Why are we cheering for this drama? Some people are. AEW fans fight with AEW fans, drive me crazy. That's the thing. Like, even when, and that's something you were talking about here, about Warner Brothers getting CM Punk his own show. Like, that almost gets you, like, this brings you back to 1996, 1997, back when you had the old WCW Wolfpack, NWO Wolfpack, NWO Hollywood. And the only differences between now and then is the fact that they did not have social media the way we do now. Could you imagine between WWF, WCW, Wolfpack, Hollywood, Latino World Order, Blue World Order, ECW. Could you imagine the amount of toxic bile that would be coming out of everybody's mouth, or through everybody's fingers in this case, with all the social medias that are available now if we had them back then? Like, it's one of the greatest things is social media, but also one of the worst things in the world is social media. Like, it is, like, I know that I was watching the Steven Larson, like I was mentioning, I was on the Steven Larson Twitch stream watching along during the Payback show tonight. And every 5 minutes, somebody would chime in asking if they knew about Punk quitting. With all due respect, if you're anybody around here that is covering wrestling, or has a platform and says you're mildly interested in wrestling, you know about CM Punk. Like, I'll admit, I was probably one of the last people to pick up on this because, well, frankly, I was working today. My last day before 5 days off was today for my shoot job, as we call it in the business, as they say. But yeah, everybody knows about it. And I think the biggest difference now between now and what had happened about 10, 15, or sorry, 30 years ago. Yes, we're getting old here. The difference between then and now is the fact we have social media with the fans tearing each other apart. It used to be just the workplaces and the schoolyards where you would have a situation where everybody would be, this guy's doing better, this guy's better, this guy's better. AEW or WCW's better. And over now, I don't know how many troll accounts I have to deal with. Hell, I got even wrestlers that are coming at me for my comment about Cash Wheeler online here. So that's actually pretty funny. And I know who it is, and I respect him a lot for his thoughts. But one thing I won't change, folks, if you own a company and you fire somebody and somebody else on your staff says you're an idiot for firing them on live TV where everybody's going to see it, I'd be having words with them. Like, I really hope it doesn't happen again. I could see it happening again tomorrow. Just because they are in Chicago, but that match is good. I think of all the matches that we're going to see tomorrow, if you're looking just merely for fan reaction, that 8-man tag with Bullet Club Gold against FTR and the Bucks, that one is going to be, you're going to get a boo-boo-yay or a boo-yay-yay or boo-boo-boo, or I have no idea how we're going to get a reaction from that crowd. And then, once again, Omega Takeshita, like, Omega might be villain number one in this whole thing, but I think eventually things will calm down, things will get fixed, things will get back to normal a little bit more here, and the fact that they're doing Full Gear in LA is a big feather in their cap as well, though. So, by the way, folks, just a reminder. Also, a good feeling is they're going to have Wrestle Dream on October 1st. If you guys didn't hear, they're having a brand new pay-per-view Sunday, October 1st. It's going to be in conjunction with New Japan Pro Wrestling as a tribute show to Antonio Inoki. As long as they have it on pay-per-view, we will be hosting it at Beercade as well. I will tell you, for Full Gear, the last pay-per-view of the year, as we did last year, we will be doing just a watch-along here on the channel. We won't be hosting the show. Unfortunately, when you work with a business that is in the bar business, and Saturday night, you pretty much are trying to take away their most profitable night and night of the week, that per se. So we're just gonna say we'll come back in February or March for Revolution when it comes out, or hell, by then we could end up with. They are looking towards possibly getting monthly pay-per-views, but it's gonna. I think the way Tony Khan worded it was rather smart, that he really emphasized the fact that he's looking for a streaming service. And he was also mentioning the monthly pay-per-views exactly at the same time. He was sort of intertwining both, because I'll tell you this right now, I don't think anybody is going to be, in 2023, is going to pop down $50 a pay-per-view for every single pay-per-view going forward, especially when you have, well, this weekend alone, this is $120 for, or sorry, 110 bucks. 55, 110. Yeah, that's right. Just, sorry, run through the numbers in my head right now. That's Canadian dollars, not American, just so you know. But how many people are going to be able to afford that, right? I know that there are a lot of pay-per-view parties, just like we're having at Beercade on Sunday, 10544 82nd Avenue. I almost wonder how we should do a counter of how many times I get that plug in here, but with the number of pay-per-views trying to increase, we're probably end up going to go to a streaming service eventually here. It's more of a wait and see. I would assume it's probably going to be Max. If it's going to be Max, it'll probably be Crave here in Canada. I hope they figure something out, because if they don't figure anything out for Canada, it's bad enough that we have to pay an extra $8 a month to watch Collision and Rampage if we want. By the way, I didn't watch Collision because I refused to pay that. And those illegal sites, well, I tried it last week and it just kept crashing like no other here. So I just got the results, and literally I just pulled everything off Wiki today for our preview here. So yeah, it's a very interesting time and a very interesting landscape. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know what you think in the chat or in the comments, because I probably will transpose this over to YouTube here once we're done here. Just throw it up on the old YouTube page and see what you guys think here. Yeah, I don't pay for that stuff. I'll buy a pay-per-view once in a while, but I'm not paying extra for a weekly B show. Yeah. I have too many other things to do. Like, hell, every Saturday here, we're streaming typically. We're typically playing games. Like, I know I said we'll probably play some Street Fighter 6 after this, but it's almost 11 o'clock already here, local time. And, well, if anything, I might get up early tomorrow and do a little bit of streaming, but I want to get that 25 days out of 30 badge, and I am very close. So we might come in tomorrow morning with a little MLB The Show. I got an absolute jam-packed week. Yeah. And God knows there's no lack of wrestling on TV as it is. Like, truth be known, what I have right now, I've picked up the Fight Network so I can watch Impact. There's SmackDown, there's Raw, there's NXT, there's Dynamite. Like, right now, the only day that really you don't have any shows on right now is Sunday, and that's for pay-per-views. Unless WWE decides to throw theirs on a Saturday, and then you have nothing. Which actually is pretty smart coming up, because starting this Thursday, there's this little thing called the NFL that's going to be starting. So, with the NFL starting up, you try not to go against them. Like, I know Tony Khan said point blank, the only night that he's going to be going up against NFL is the Wrestle Dream show that is coming from Seattle. It's because they've already booked Collision for the night before on TV there. The weekend of Full Gear, the 18th, they've actually got Collision scheduled for Friday, so there's going to be a direct head-to-head between Collision and SmackDown for the day before Full Gear. So I don't even want to speculate what kind of numbers each one's going to do because of that, because it's so far away right now that we aren't really going to know, because Full Gear is 1 week ahead of what we're going to get for Survivor Series. So, and add on the fact that you got indie wrestling on TV right now. Like, hell, I've been pushing the Fight Network here and Fight Net. Like, that's where we get our All In from. One of our local promotions here in Edmonton here, Top Town Pro Wrestling, just signed a deal to be on Fight. So it's all over the place here. So, all right, pal, gonna hit. Yeah, you have yourself a great night, Adam, once again, and thank you for the sub. I do appreciate it here. Parrish, good to see you here as well tonight, sir. I hope that the pay-per-view went well for you guys. The PLE, sorry. Hope you guys enjoyed chatting about it here. I know we had our quick thoughts about it. Excellent show. Everything looked decent for the most part. I enjoyed it, and I think we're just hitting a good point in wrestling now. And with all due respect, with Punk gone, I think everybody's going to settle into where everybody can just go back and focus on the wrestling. And I think that's the biggest thing that I think we all can agree here. Everybody in chat, everybody watching on the video on demand here, whatnot. I think we all can agree that if we could get away from all these politics that are going on right now and just enjoy the wrestling that is going on, I think we'll all be better off for it. Because I can handle you guys giving me grief about, bad stories or whatever, but the fact that we have to talk Charles Montgomery for who knows how many times here. Could have been tighter with some matches, but if the argument's too much in ring, I think we're okay. Exactly, Parrish. And those are the discussions I hope we get to go through with every promotion, not just WWE. I hope that's where we get with AEW. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea on what they do in the ring, but at the same time, I'd like to critique the in-ring action, not everything that's out of it. Wow. So my throat's been a little bit killing me here all night because of this smoke. And we've been going just over an hour and a half here with just chatting wrestling. And I very rarely do these. I know I was supposed to do this with Andre C, but unfortunately he was unavailable tonight. So I ended up doing this solo. Seth Rollins said it best on After the Bell, wrestling is everywhere, doing great numbers, everything is flourishing while being different. Absolutely. Like, for as much as wrestling fans enjoy a toxic atmosphere, some of them, and some of them generate a toxic atmosphere, I think that's more fan generated than wrestler generated, because everybody knows in the end, more jobs is more jobs, and if everybody's working and doing well, that's good for everybody. Because if you can't work here, you're going to work there. We're going to test that out with CM Punk here. One way or the other. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap this up here right now. I'll see if we can set up a raid here in just a moment. Just to give you guys a heads up on this Twitch schedule, I haven't done it yet. I even mentioned just another promotion sold 80,000 tickets while they sold 90,000 for Mania. It's just good for the industry. Yeah. Like, I know Cole shoved it down our throats, but at the same time, we know, everybody knows, like everybody with half a brain knows, they sold 90,000 tickets for 2 nights. Fine, whatever. This show sold 80,000, they sold 90,000. That's money. If I could sell that many tickets for that much revenue, I don't care if it's for 1 night, 2 nights, 12 nights, 30 nights. That's money. And if people are willing to spend money on a good wrestling product, awesome. All right, so tomorrow, if I have time, based on the time right now, probably not, because this is my first day of holidays, so I might want to sleep in a little bit. If I'm on tomorrow, it'll be a little bit MLB The Show. Monday will be Street Fighter 6. Probably going to try and do a little late morning, early afternoon stream. Try and get the World Tour done as much as I can. Tuesday, we're going to do Zelda Breath of the Wild. That'll probably be a late afternoon stream as we go there. Wednesday night's going to be our Wednesday Night Dynamite, the Fallout from All Out. And Thursday afternoon, looks like we might end up going back to Blitz. NFL Blitz 2002, as we get ready for the Chiefs and the Lions to open up the NFL regular season here this Thursday. So this is going to be a pretty awesome week. I'm off till Friday, and I hope to share most of that week with you guys. So no one cares about the battle anymore, just the overall success. The only people that care about the battle are the people that aren't involved. And that's the toxic ally. The fallout from All Out. Yep, that's exactly it. I threw a funny halfway through. Who knew I could do that? But yeah. Once again, just a reminder to everybody, if you are interested in subbing, Subs are 25 to 30% off based on how much you want to, how long you want to sub for. Thank you, parents. I appreciate it. Yeah, it is. We're definitely enjoying what I'm definitely enjoying what we're doing here. And plus, if I stream all week, I'll have content to put up on our wrestling or our gaming YouTube page, which right now we're getting close. Like, there's been times where we haven't been able to do one stream a day or one video a day. We're going to have at least one more week. I'm hoping we're going to get a little bit more after that, but we'll see what happens here. But